Greetings and welcome back to yet another episode of the Daily Run, as today we're playing as Cain. So I noticed that maybe something's off about this video, like for example we're going to Mega Satan and the video is only about 7 minutes long, so something's not right there. And of course, as you might have expected, I did end up dying quite early on in the run, and obviously that was just due to my fault. It's not because the run was super weak or not, it's not because maybe something really unlucky happened or whatever. I just was, I think, in a different mental state as what I usually am, and I would like to explore that avenue in today's video just a little bit, because I feel like that's something I don't mention a lot, and when you try to play a daily basically every single day, it becomes a much more different experience as opposed to just playing the daily when you feel like it. So when you feel like playing the daily for that kind of player, which is totally fine of course, then you're just in a position where you know that you're gonna be at your mental peak, if that makes sense. You're not gonna play a daily if you're like tired or maybe if you're thinking about something else, but if you try to play every single day, it becomes more of an endurance test. And in that case, of course, you're just bound to have a bad or an off day once in a while. And this is exactly what I think this was for me. This happens obviously not just like once a month or once every 100 dailies. It really does depend. And of course, in this particular one, when I entered the run, I entered this state of hyper focus, and I was just like, okay, so I know that sometimes maybe I'm a bit slow on the run, and because this was the Mega Satan daily, and because this is exactly what I wanted for in some of the previous videos, I felt like I was kind of obligated to the run to do my best. And of course, I don't think this is like a healthy mindset or an attitude to approach the run, but I was just like, okay, so if I just really focus and really try to kind of optimize my paths, of course, I try to enter the room, kill the enemies, and as soon as I kill them, just leave the room immediately, and then debate whenever I should kind of pick up the consumables on the ground, if it's worth my time or not. And just in that state of hyper focus where I was just really kind of thinking everything through, it went well for the first 2 floors, but then I ended up getting hit a few times. And of course that is really discouraging when you're in that state, when you're just trying to not commit any single mistake. And then of course some things kind of screw you over, like the spike chest spawning right on top of you and there's no way for you to dodge it. So of course, just in the nature of Isaac's, you're gonna get this very unfortunate coincidences sometimes, and you're gonna end up getting hit. And of course that's gonna throw you off for a loop, and in this particular case, I feel like it tilted me in a way that usually doesn't really tilt me. And I ended up getting hit, of course, a few times early on, and I did fight all of these fights, but I wasn't too concerned because my run was really strong. I had 12.2 damage at this point with 8 tier delay. That's pretty much 1 or 2 shotting most enemies that exist, and I wasn't really even strapped for time because I was really trying to kind of be meticulous about how I'm approaching the daily, about how I'm approaching the rooms, and I felt like everything was alright. Even if I got hit a little bit, it was okay, and I wasn't really too concerned about that, but of course it did affect me in some way. So of course, after focusing for so much for those early floors, I did lose my patience in some sense. Of course, I did lose some of my mental power, and in the later stages of the game, or not later stages of the game, but later stages of the video, what ended up happening is I was maybe not focused enough again. So I didn't really off-balance my mental load throughout the video like I usually do, or at least throughout the run, but I ended up just kind of focusing at the start to try to have a good start, and when I got a good run, I just kind of dropped my guard, if that makes sense. And when I dropped my guard, of course, things started happening, and I thought at this point, I have it pretty much set, because you can see that I have everything that I could possibly need in order to break the game. I have restock, I have Ivy Bag, I have the satchel, the purse that gives you items whenever you get hit, so of course with the Ivy Bag that's a really good combo. I also have Humbling Bundle now, but I also have Poison Touch, and you might say, why is Poison Touch that important? Well, the thing is, I can now use my black hearts that I get from Poison Touch to trigger them. Of course, I can walk into enemies, get more black hearts, and that's a very sustainable way to just deal with a lot of damage to a lot of enemies in the room. So I felt like from this perspective, I was again in a really good spot, both offensively and defensively, and of course I had every single prospect for breaking. So the only thing I need to do now really is just go to the Harsh Fight, go to the shop and break the game there and just try to get as many items as possible. I can get truly strong. So I was like, okay, this is not that big of a deal. I have enough health, I have this kind of amazing broken combo. I practically can't take any damage because I have the Ivy Bag, so I can always defend it. And of course, as you might expect, as soon as I entered that state, or at least when I started developing that plan in my head, I just started getting hit like crazy. And I got hit, I think, like 3 or 4 times just on the path to this particular fight from the point I started talking about it. And that was so, I guess, in a way discouraging, or at least kinda threw me off that I just never really recovered. I got hit against the spiders, I walked into enemies for what apparently seemed no reason. Of course, what I tried to do is use the Ivy Bag and use the invisibility frames to touch the enemies so I would poison them, and then of course I hoped that I would get black hearts, but that invisibility frame kinda ran out faster than I thought, or maybe an enemy moved in an unpredictable manner, or maybe I got stuck in a rock or something very silly like that, and I ended up getting hit, and I got hit a few too many times to my liking, and I was just in a way just kind of happy that I was in this position where I can afford to do these mistakes. But also in another one, I just feel like if you commit so many mistakes in a run, you already don't deserve to win, or at least I'm not saying that you don't deserve to win, but just on the level scale, I'm trying to do my best, and when I do so many silly mistakes and take so many hits of very silly and stupid damage, I feel like I really shouldn't be able to compete at a high level. Not a high level, but you know what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say I think the performance wasn't really worthy of a good rank today, and I guess that's what kind of bummed me out a bit. So that was maybe a bit more complicated than that it had any right to be. But again, you know, like I said, it was not that bad of a run. You can see at this point I practically have enough health. I used some of my red hearts to kind of transfer them into black hearts via the poison touch, and I just wasn't in a bad spot. And of course, because of Humbling Bundle, every time I do get a red heart, I'm gonna get a double red heart. So you might say that my health position isn't all that bad, and I still have like 6 or 7 hits of damage to go, so it's not like I'm in any danger at all. So I might be saying, well, how did you lose this run? And of course, the first mistake I made here, I think, was fighting the angel statues. I think I was so kinda looking forward to abusing them, because it seemed like a very strong run, and I purposefully didn't take any single devil deal that I found. Even though there were 3 devil deals in total that I got offered, none of them were angel deals, so I just kind of skipped them, hope maybe that they would come later, and of course in this particular floor they did come. There were 2 of them, and of course that took me just a little bit too much time. Then the entirety of the rest floor, now on the bomb fight, you can see that I'm in a position where I only have like 20 seconds left, but I felt like I could do it. I really felt like I could do it. So I used the Ivy Bag here to kind of protect from some damage, but what I didn't notice is when she actually hit me for the second time. So I thought I had more health than I had. I didn't notice the second hit, and then of course I used the Ivy Bag to protect the damage from her. And then I felt like I have another hit of damage. And then when she started doing her Brimstone attack, I noticed I'm only at a half of a red heart, and I just realized that, oh, maybe this is my doom. This is how I die. And of course that's what ended up happening. So it was just, I think, a combination of me not being really focused into the game, and also not being really, in a way, positioned to tackle this daily properly. And I feel like it's just one of those things where you feel like you're a lot stronger than you actually are. You know, we had 10 luck, 17 damage, 6-tier delay. I expected to pretty much one-shot Mom, and of course that's not really what happened, and I feel like because of that it also subverted my expectations in a way. But what can you do? I feel like dailies like this are important for me to upload and also to talk about, because we learn more from our failures than our successes, and just having good dailies every single day wouldn't be that interesting. So having a little bit of a different, I guess, experience and a little bit of a different atmosphere in regarding to how the daily was handled, I feel like it is a good change of pace, at least sometimes, just so we can maybe see what's going on. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I hope to see you next time.